Welcome back to Crime Documentary Files. Today we'll be exploring Taiwan's first documented case of cannibalism. This horrific incident shocked the entire nation of Taiwan and pushed the boundaries of what people thought humans were capable of. Let's travel back to winter 2003 in Taichung City, Taiwan. On December 10, 2003, a young man named Shi Jinchi rushed to the Longjing District Police Station in Taichung City to report his sister missing. He told police that his sister, Shi Jinchi, was 27 years old and worked as an insurance agent for Cathay Life Insurance. 3 days earlier, on the evening of December 7th, Jinchi had spoken with his sister on the phone. She told him she was heading to meet a client near Tunghai University. It was already past 8 p.m., and Jinchi felt uneasy about his sister going alone, so he offered to accompany her. However, she declined. Jinchi assured her brother there was no need to worry, explaining that the person she was meeting was a long-time client, the owner of a motorcycle repair shop next to the martial arts school, named Chen Jinhuo. The client had mentioned wanting to refer new insurance customers to her. Jinchi sounded excited over the phone, saying that if she could secure this contract, she would meet her monthly quota and would treat her brother to a nice dinner to celebrate. Still concerned, her brother insisted on cycling to Chen's shop, planning to wait outside until his sister finished her business and then escort her home. But Jinchi wouldn't hear of it, telling him to go home and get some rest. Reluctantly, he left, but not before making her promise to return home early. That night, their parents assumed Jinchi was staying at her brother's place, so they didn't call to check on her. Jinchi likewise thought she had returned to their parents' home after finishing her business, so he didn't follow up. No one could have imagined that on the morning of December 9th, Jinchi's phone would ring with devastating news. On the other end was a manager from Cathay Life Insurance, where his sister worked. When the manager mentioned that Jinchi had been absent without explanation for 2 consecutive days and asked if anything was wrong, Jinchi felt his heart stop. In his statement to police, Jinchi explained that his sister had been in a long-term relationship, though she chose to live with her parents rather than moving in with her boyfriend. To everyone who knew her, Jinchi was a tall, graceful young woman. While not conventionally beautiful, she had an attractive presence that turned heads. Beyond her physical appearance, Jinchi was known for being gentle, honest, and always cheerful. She lived a relatively private life, maintaining close relationships with only a few friends and avoiding complicated romantic entanglements. As her brother Jinchi was well aware that she had many admirers, which is why he often took on the role of protector, always keeping an eye on his sister's safety. Immediately upon hearing about his sister's absence from work, Jinchi dropped everything and rushed to the motorcycle repair shop where she was last seen. The shop was located in a 3-story building on Xinxing Road in the Longjing district. The ground floor served as the repair workshop, while the 2nd and 3rd floors were used for storage and living quarters. The location was prime real estate, just a block away from Tunghai University in an area bustling with pedestrian traffic. With growing anxiety, Jinchi hurried into the shop. Amid the noise of machinery and smell of motor oil, he found a middle-aged man with cropped hair busy repairing a motorcycle. This was Chen Jinhuo, the shop owner. When Jinchi inquired about his sister's whereabouts, Chen calmly replied that while he had indeed met with Jinchi on the evening of the 7th, an urgent matter had come up, so they only exchanged a few brief words before she left, agreeing to meet another time. Chen's casual response didn't satisfy Jinchi. Following his gut instinct, he insisted on searching the upper and lower floors of the repair shop. However, just as he tried to enter, Chen blocked his path. Not only did Chen hurl vulgar insults, but he physically pushed Jinchi out and quickly pulled down the shop's metal security gate. During his interview with police, Jinchi expressed his deep suspicions. He knew his sister's habits well. She had never spent a night away from home without notice, and would never disappear without telling anyone. This convinced him that Chen must have done something to her. The next morning, the entire Shi family returned to the motorcycle shop, demanding to search the premises. Surprisingly, Chen's demeanor had completely changed from his aggressive behavior the previous day. He now welcomed the Shi family with unusual politeness and friendliness. Clinging to a faint hope of finding their daughter, The family meticulously searched all 3 floors. However, despite their thorough inspection, they couldn't find a single trace of Jinchi, not even a strand of hair. Completely devastated, the Shi family left the repair shop and immediately reported the case to the police. While suspicion is one thing, criminal charges require concrete evidence. Notably, the name Chen Jinhuo immediately caught the attention of Guang Deqiang, the chief of the Criminal Investigation Division. As it turned out, Chen Jinhuo wasn't unfamiliar to law enforcement. His name had been on their special watch list for some time. Chief Tang recalled that on March 1st, 1991, a Tanghai University student named Xu Ruifan had vanished at Chen's motorcycle repair shop. At the time, Xu was working as a part-time insurance agent to earn extra income and had contacted Chen to discuss an insurance policy. This led to Chen being named the prime suspect in that case. During the 1991 investigation, Chen claimed he had been visiting his pregnant wife that evening. According to his statement, when he returned to the shop, Xu was nowhere to be found. Chen used this as his alibi. However, through careful investigation, police discovered a suspicious gap of approximately 90 minutes, during which Chen couldn't account for his whereabouts. Despite this, without concrete evidence linking Chen to the crime, the police had reached a dead end in their investigation. 12 years had passed, and now 2 female insurance agents had disappeared from the same location, a coincidence too suspicious to ignore. Since his early days as a junior officer, this case had left an indelible mark on Tang's memory. The image of Xu's motorcycle still parked in front of the shop while its owner had vanished haunted him. Although Chen was the primary suspect, the police couldn't find any decisive evidence, leaving the case as an unresolved burden weighing on Tang's conscience. Over those 12 years, police had brought Chen in 3 times for polygraph tests, specifically questioning whether he had met Xu on the day of her disappearance. Though Chen consistently denied any meeting, he failed all 3 polygraph tests. However, as law enforcement professionals know, polygraph results aren't admissible as evidence in court. Now, 12 years later, Tang had been promoted to Chief of Criminal Investigation, while Chen had entered middle age. This could be their last chance to bring the suspect to justice. This new case drew intense attention from local law enforcement. Whether or not these cases were connected, the area had seen several unsolved female disappearances in recent years, with the perpetrator still at large. With Chen Jinhuo, their previous person of interest, once again linked to a missing person case, the police were determined to use this opportunity to thoroughly investigate his background. Chen Jinhuo was a local, born and raised in the area, into a poor family with 9 children, 4 boys and 5 girls. His parents worked as day laborers to support their large family. Perhaps due to his difficult circumstances and learning challenges, Chen dropped out after 8th grade. Despite attending middle school, he remained nearly illiterate, unable to read all the characters on his own ID card. After leaving school, Chen apprenticed at a motorcycle repair shop. It wasn't until his mid-20s that he managed to save enough to open his own small shop. Though poorly educated, Chen showed a natural talent for mechanical repairs. His skillful work gradually earned the trust and recognition of local residents. From this perspective, Chen appeared to be someone who had worked his way up from poverty through his own efforts. Chen was quickly brought in for questioning, but he steadfastly denied any knowledge of Shi Jinchi's whereabouts. However, he hadn't counted on modern technological advances making criminal investigation much more efficient. The evidence police had gathered quickly began to unravel his lies. On the afternoon of the initial report, investigators quickly gathered surveillance footage from cameras around the repair shop. Video from a nearby 24-hour convenience store captured Jinchi entering the motorcycle shop shortly after 8 p.m. Significantly, there was no footage of her ever leaving. This anomaly strengthened police suspicions. During questioning, Chen remained unusually calm, evading questions and denying the evidence police had uncovered. Officers noticed something strange about Chen's behavior. Even highly educated people with high IQs typically stumble when faced with intense police questioning. While Chen appeared less intelligent than average, His answers were suspiciously perfect and rehearsed. Acting on these suspicions, police quickly obtained a search warrant for the repair shop. With no concrete evidence yet found, Chen was temporarily released. Unexpectedly, he disappeared immediately after leaving the police station. Armed with the search warrant and accompanied by a police dog, officers arrived at Chen's 3-story repair shop. The security gate was locked, and no one responded to their loud knocking. While they suspected Chen had fled to avoid prosecution, their immediate priority was searching the premises for evidence. Fortunately, they were able to obtain a spare key from Chen's wife. When they opened the door, they found the first floor in disarray. An unfinished motorcycle repair job, tools and items scattered across the floor, making it difficult to distinguish between useful evidence and debris. Moving to the second-floor living area, they found a space covered in dust and grime, appearing long neglected. However, one detail stood out. In the otherwise filthy bathroom, the bathtub was suspiciously clean and shiny, clearly having been recently scrubbed. Before investigators could analyze this further, the police dog suddenly began barking frantically and pulled officers toward the 3rd floor. Everyone quickly followed. The dog stopped in front of a cylindrical stainless steel water tank, its barking growing more intense. A tense atmosphere immediately filled the air. At that moment, a powerful stench began emanating from the tank. While such water tanks were common in Taiwanese homes, this one appeared abandoned, covered in a thick layer of grime. When officers opened the tank's lid, everyone instinctively covered their noses against the overwhelming smell of decay. They located the source of the horrific odor at the bottom of the tank. From the tank's depths, police retrieved 2 heavy black plastic bags. When opened, the contents shocked everyone present. A severed human head, dismembered limbs, chunks of flesh, and white bones stripped clean of meat, along with what appeared to be blood-soaked internal organs. The scene was beyond anyone's worst expectations. Police immediately sealed off the crime scene to continue their investigation. They quickly discovered a destroyed Nokia phone in a trash bin. Next, they sprayed luminol in the second-floor bathroom. The chemical reaction revealed numerous blue fluorescent spots on the walls and floor around the bathtub. Since this reaction only lasts about 30 seconds, officers rapidly photographed the evidence. This confirmed the bathroom as the primary crime scene. Jinchi's brother and parents rushed to the scene upon hearing the news. Despite police attempts to stop them, they ran to where the remains were found. Though severely decomposed, the father immediately recognized his daughter from what remained of her face. Overwhelmed by the horrific discovery, he broke down sobbing before fainting. The search revealed more disturbing discoveries. In a corner of Chen's room, investigators found a large patterned snake coiled up, making their blood run cold. They also discovered a collection of pornographic videos and sex toys, providing insight into Chen's deviant interests. While all evidence now pointed to Chen, he had vanished without a trace. Where could he be? According to Chen's wife, he was 39 years old, and they had 3 sons. Initially, their life had been relatively stable. Chen's motorcycle repair skills were well respected in the community, allowing him to establish his own shop. However, his wife ultimately left him because she couldn't tolerate his special interests. Though Chen appeared introverted and honest on the surface, he harbored a completely different side. From childhood, frequently beaten by his family, he developed disturbing behaviors. Instead of going home, he would often wander to secluded areas to catch and torture small animals. These pathological tendencies continued after marriage, when he decided to keep snakes in the house, terrifying not only his wife and children, but also keeping neighbors at bay. Local residents all sensed something deeply unsettling about Chen. Most alarming were reports from several neighbors to police about Chen's suspicious behavior. He would often stand at his doorway, leering at passing young women with predatory eyes. These behaviors further confirmed his underlying pathological nature. Police theorized that given Chen's personality and circumstances, he wouldn't flee far from familiar territory. This prediction proved correct. Shortly after, authorities located Chen in his rural hometown. When arrested, he was carrying a betel nut knife, a potential weapon, yet maintained an eerily calm demeanor despite facing police. Even more striking was how Chen handled the accusations. Not only did he deny any involvement in the crime, but he also feigned outrage, declaring that the real perpetrator was cruel and must be caught. Though police had found the dismembered remains and blood evidence in the repair shop, they knew these weren't enough to secure a conviction against Chen. They needed eyewitnesses and direct physical evidence. In their search for murder weapons, they even excavated the underground drainage pipes in front of the shop but found nothing. Just as the investigation seemed to be hitting a dead end, local media reported a major breakthrough in the Jinchi case. Someone had voluntarily come forward to the police station with crucial information that would help crack the case. The lead came from the technical team monitoring the victim's phone. They detected an unusual call from the device. Technical analysis revealed that while the victim's SIM card hadn't been used, the call was made from another SIM card belonging to a woman named Li. Quick investigation identified Li as the girlfriend of Guang Deqiang, a 29-year-old apprentice at Chen's repair shop. When police went to question him, they discovered that Guang had also disappeared after the incident. Could his disappearance be connected to the murder? Guang clearly became another key suspect in the case. During this time, police received an important call from Zhao Yinchang, a local electronics store owner who knew Guang well. He reported that Guang had suddenly brought in a laptop and phone, initially asking to unlock the computer. Guang left the items, saying he'd return later. Given the widespread news about Chen's suspected involvement in the murder, the store owner grew suspicious. After Guang left the laptop, he secretly called the police. Following police instructions, Zhao was asked to stall Guang. Half an hour later, Guang returned, saying he had changed his mind and asked if the store would buy the computer instead. After negotiating, Guang agreed to sell it for approximately $300. To buy more time and create evidence, Zhao had Guang sign a transfer of ownership document. Zhao's clever delaying tactics gave police enough time to respond and successfully arrest Guang at the store. Unlike Chen's unnerving calmness, Guang, with his boyish face, showed immediate signs of panic upon arrest. His composure quickly crumbled under pressure. At the police station, faced with irrefutable evidence, Guang could no longer maintain his silence. He gradually confessed to his role in the crime. His confession also put pressure on the detained Chen, forcing him to acknowledge his involvement. Though interrogated separately, the details revealed by both suspects painted a horrifying picture that shocked even seasoned investigators. Despite his youth, Guang had dropped out of school early. His life quickly spiraled into gambling and vice, leaving him deep in debt. He found work as an apprentice at Chen's shop. Due to the nature of their business, repair shop customers often needed motorcycle insurance, allowing Chen to build a network of connections with insurance companies. This was how Chen had met Jinchi. But what turned this normal business relationship into a bloody tragedy? Combining the testimonies of Chen and Guang, police reconstructed the basic sequence of events. Over 2 years of cooperation, Chen had referred many customers to Jinchi. However, recent problems with insurance claims had created tension. The breaking point came when a major claim went wrong, causing one of Chen's customers to storm into the shop in a rage, resulting in Chen losing several business opportunities. As Chen dwelled on this, his anger grew until he made the brutal decision to take revenge on Jinchi. On the evening of December 7th, 2003, after 8 p.m., Chen called to invite Jinchi to the shop, using a new insurance contract as pretext. Unaware of Chen's dark intentions, Jinchi happily accepted. Around 9 p.m., when she arrived, Chen introduced her to Guang. The scene appeared perfectly normal, music playing in the shop while Jinchi and Guang sat at a table discussing insurance in a relaxed atmosphere. No one could have imagined these would be Jinchi's final moments. Suddenly, Chen walked toward the door. In an instant, he pulled down the security gate and turned the music volume to maximum. These unusual actions immediately alarmed Jinchi, but it was too late. How could a single woman defend herself against 2 men who had planned their attack? As Jinchi opened her mouth to question why the gate was being closed, Chen brutally struck her lower back with a club. Before she could react, Guang, wearing black gloves he had prepared in advance, quickly looped a thick rope around her neck. The more desperately Jinchi struggled to break free, the tighter Guang pulled the rope. The loud music drowned out any sounds of the victim's distress. Jinchi collapsed to the floor, her head hitting the ground hard. Though unable to scream, she continued struggling desperately, her legs kicking frantically. After about 2 minutes of fighting for her life, her strength ebbed away, and her limbs fell limp. Once the two attackers confirmed she was unconscious, they dragged her to the second-floor bathroom. There, they committed unspeakable acts of assault against her. Looking at Jinchi in her dying state, Chen began calculating how to dispose of the body. He realized the repair shop's location, so close to Tunghai University, in a busy area surrounded by familiar neighbors, made it impossible to move the body without detection. Therefore, they decided to destroy the evidence on site. To eliminate evidence of their assault, they first used large amounts of water to wash the victim's intimate areas. Using a beetle nut knife, they removed her reproductive organs, then proceeded to dismember the rest of the body. They separated the head from the torso and used a utility knife to strip flesh from bone. After more than an hour, both men were drenched in sweat. Chen suggested they eat something. Guang went to the kitchen to prepare food. In an act of unimaginable depravity, he took pieces of the victim's flesh and fried them in oil. When he served them to Chen, the latter ate without showing any emotion. Finally, they placed the limbs and larger pieces of flesh into 2 black plastic bags, tied them tightly, and disposed of them in the water tank on the 3rd floor. The remaining stripped remains, along with Jinchi's clothes and the utility knife used for dismemberment, were placed in a large black plastic bag and thrown into the septic tank behind the repair shop. When interrogated, both men gave largely consistent accounts of the crime sequence, but differed significantly on one crucial detail. They each blamed the other as the mastermind. In their respective statements, each claimed to be merely an accomplice while asserting the other was the primary perpetrator. Guang testified that he only stopped at sexually assaulting the victim that night. After committing the depraved act, he left. According to Guang, it was Chen who took the victim's cash and computer, then gave it to him to sell. Therefore, he was completely unaware that Chen later dismembered the body alone in the room. By doing this, Guang deliberately distanced himself from the barbaric acts that occurred later and implicitly implied that Chen was the mastermind behind the entire case. Chen, on the other hand, claimed that Guang planned the kidnapping and murder because he was short of money. Chen claimed that he only played a supporting role and had no intention of disposing of the body. He also denied the cannibalism, saying that he only realized the disgusting thing later. So, who is the liar? During the subsequent investigation, police recovered various body parts, bones, clothing, documents, and insurance paperwork from the septic tank, matching their confessions. They also found the rope Guang had discarded near the repair shop, which contained Jinchi's DNA. However, the rope bore no DNA from either suspect, corroborating Guang's claim that he had worn gloves during the strangulation. The dispute over who was the mastermind and who performed the dismemberment was resolved through forensic evidence. The autopsy determined Jinchi's time of death at approximately 10 p.m. on December 7th. Forensic experts concluded that the subsequent acts of dismemberment and disposal could not have been performed by one person alone in such a short time frame. This led police to conclude that both Chen and Guang were directly involved in all aspects of the crime. Throughout the investigation, both suspects' testimonies kept changing, lacking consistency. Sometimes they would confess to the murder, then completely deny it. Notably, during questioning, psychiatric experts diagnosed Guang with severe mental disorders requiring treatment in the psychiatric ward. Regarding the cannibalism, Chen repeatedly changed his story. Particularly near the trial date, he adamantly denied all accusations of cannibalism in court. However, media outlets had already dubbed him the cannibal monster. During one interrogation, Chen made a statement that sent chills through everyone present. Vegetarian meat and regular meat taste the same. This immediately made investigators think of Xu Ruifan, the vegetarian student who disappeared 12 years earlier. Could she have met the same terrible fate? Tragically, police could never find any evidence linking Chen to Xu Ruifen's case. This left both Xu's family and the investigating officers with an unresolvable burden of grief. After years of trial proceedings, Chen Jinhuo and Guang Deqiang continued to change their stories. Guang would only admit to sexually assaulting Jinchi, but denied the murder and cannibalism charges. Chen admitted to the assault and cannibalism, but denied being the killer. In the 2004 initial trial, prosecutors sought the death penalty for Chen and a 20-year prison sentence for Guang. However, the court ultimately sentenced both men to death. In 2005, the appellate court upheld the death sentences. Finally, in 2007, the Taichung High Court finalized their death sentences for premeditated murder. Despite protests from human rights organizations opposing capital punishment, given the exceptionally heinous nature of their crimes, the sentences were carried out on December 21, 2012. Guang died instantly from the first shot. Chen, who had volunteered to donate his organs, was given anesthesia via IV before being shot in the right brain. After death, he was rushed to a local hospital for organ harvesting. Because medical ethics, and human rights organizations believe that organ harvesting from death row inmates is a form of brutal torture, the Ministry of Justice has stopped considering organ donation requests to avoid controversy. Even if death row inmates voluntarily donate organs, the Ministry of Justice does not approve them in principle. Therefore, Chen Jinhuo became the last death row inmate in Taiwan to be allowed to donate organs. To this day, the case still haunts the people of Taiwan, especially the area around Tunghai University. This case not only exposes the dark side of human nature, but also serves as a valuable lesson in vigilance in life. And that is today's case. What do you think about today's case? Please share in the comments below. Thank you for watching and see you in the next videos.